So, when immigration uncertainty rises, fear is often framed as legal, but in reality, instability usually becomes financial first. One delayed paycheck, one missed renewal, one unexpected medical bill, one missed bill, and suddenly rent is late. The early church understood something deeply practical. In Acts 4, we read that there was not a needy person among them because resources were shared as needs arose. Financial stability has always been part of Christian witness. The church has never separated spiritual care from economic stability because economic fragility increases vulnerability, and vulnerability increases fear. Scripture does not romanticize poverty. It treats financial wisdom seriously. Proverbs tells us that the plan of the diligent lead to surely to abundance, while haste leads to lack. It reminds us that the borrower becomes a servant to the lender. Financial literacy is not quote worldly. It's biblical wisdom, and helping families understand budgeting, credit card debt, and savings is not materialistic. It's protective, and you can have this role. When money is unclear, anxiety grows, and anxiety always affects the children first. Let me share a common, very real example. Refugee family receives a credit card offer in the mail. It says pre-approved. It says no annual fee. It says instant access to someone unfamiliar with credit cards and the U.S. credit system. And this feels like free money. They use it, they get it, use it for groceries, gas, then school, clothes. The minimum payment seems manageable, but interest compounds. The annual percentage rate, APR, quietly adds cost month after month, and the minimum payment keeps debt alive for years. Within months, the balance grows beyond control. No one explained how interest works. No one explained how missed payments damage credit scores. No one explained that credit is not income. And now imagine a different scenario. A volunteer says gently, when you receive a credit card offers in the mail, bring them to us first. Not because the volunteer controls the decision, but because someone needs to explain what those words actually mean, what APR means, and what minimum payments extend debt, and how they extend debt, and how credit scores affect housing and loans for the future, for a car, or for any other kind of transaction, and even employment in some cases where they'll check your credit. So that 30-minute conversation could prevent years of financial stress. You're not responsible for what they would do, after that conversation, but you can at least try to have it. Financial education is preventative work. It's volunteers. You can host simple workshops that explain credit in clear language. You can demonstrate how interest accumulates over time using simple examples. You can teach families how to request a free annual credit report and why checking credit matters, particularly if you want to have them ask them if they want to buy a home one day, that this is important to do. They can explain that a good credit score lowers interest rates and makes future purchases, particularly for a house, more accessible. This is not shaming, it's empowerment. So, be comfortable asking for this. The beginning of wisdom is this: get wisdom. Another example. Hardworking family earns steady income. Maybe they have 2 or 3 people in the house that are bringing in income. Both parents are employed, but they never create a written budget. Money comes in, money goes out, nothing is tracked. They reach the end of the month confused. 1 month rent is late, and the problem is not income. The problem is invisibility. A volunteer sits with them and says, "Hey, let's write everything down. What's coming in every month? What's monthly income from everyone who's working, whether it's part-time or full-time? What's rent? What are the utilities? Sometimes the apartment covers certain utilities, sometimes they don't. What are your transportation costs? What's food costing every month? If you're on SNAP or food stamps or not? What are school expenses? What's your cell phone? What are other subscriptions that you pay for?" This basic budgeting. For the first time, the numbers are visible. You write it on paper. They discover small subscription services accumulating. They discover unnecessary fees. They discover areas where savings could grow. So within months, they create a small emergency fund. The income did not change, but clarity did. Maybe you help them open up a savings account, and teach them how to save and encourage them to put money in there every month. Habakkuk says in the scripture, write the vision, make it plain. The principle applies here too. Writing things down creates clarity. Clarity creates peace. Volunteers can offer one-on-one budgeting sessions. They can provide simple templates. They can teach envelope system. They can help families set realistic savings goals. Even encouraging $25 per month into emergency fund builds discipline and resilience. Financial stability grows gradually. It is not instant. It requires repetition, patience, and cultural sensitivity. And then there is the dream of home ownership that I mentioned earlier. But many refugee families long to own a home. And I've seen many of them go through this process and become homeowners. Home ownership represents permanence and safety and stability. And so those of you that are realtors or know realtors can help train, do workshops and to talk about this. But home ownership in the United States is complex, as many of you know. It involves credit scores, down payments, mortgage fees, property taxes, insurance, inspections, maintenance, closing costs, escrow accounts. And there needs to be education involved in that. One family believed that if they could gather enough money for a down payment, they were ready. They did not understand closing costs. They did not anticipate repair expenses. They did not calculate fluctuating property taxes. Even buying home in many parts of the world is different than in America. Without education, the dream can become another source of stress. Now imagine a proactive education about owning a home and about saving and about down payment. Maybe your group, your church, host a workshop explaining how mortgages work, what fixed versus adjustable rates mean, why credit history matters, how to monitor your credit, how to build your credit, create credit even, why emergency savings should exist before buying, and why maintenance costs must be anticipated when you own a home. The dream remains, but now it is informed, and it's a great way to empower refugees. By wisdom, a house is built, and by understanding, it is established. Understanding builds stable houses. Ignorance builds fragile ones. Sometimes, despite wisdom and diligence, crisis still happens. A delayed work authorization, a medical emergency, a temporary income interruption. And this is where a structured refugee stability fund can help. We have created one here at Migros Aid, but maybe you're in a different area, or your church wants to, or that's fine as well. But it could be structured, and it must be temporary. It must be accountable, transparent, and looked at for short-term instability. From becoming, you don't want to have a long-term impact or long-term collapse, if you will. This is not dependency. This is stabilization. Scripture teaches fairness in seasons, that abundance can supply needs so that balance is restored. The goal is not permanent financial support. The goal is preventing cascading crisis. You're avoiding homelessness or avoiding some sort of eviction. Volunteers must remember their boundaries as well. Do not become financial decision makers. Don't try to make decisions for them or tell them what to do, but help them come to those decisions themselves. Do not control the accounts. Do not foster dependency. Guide, educate, empower, encourage dignity, encourage ownership, encourage learning. Financial stability is spiritual work, and it requires the diligence and people who maybe are skilled in that. Some are more gifted at than others. When rent is secure, when debt is understood, when credit is used wisely, when savings begin to grow, fear decreases. Children feel secure. Marriages feel less strained. You may not control economic systems, but you can help one family understand them. You can prevent predatory debt, and you can teach budgeting clarity. You can protect dreams of home ownership and help them work towards that. Financial education is not flashy, but it is powerful, and it's an important part of coming around the family or group of families maybe that you help or your group is helping. And steady churches build financially steady families.